Well, hey, everybody, welcome to the pod today. We've got Bryan Nieves. Did I say that right, Bryan? I've known
did
him a long time. He's a fantastic guy with AUL. Bryan, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
So
Pleasure to be here with you, Joel.
Love having you. Bryan is my bro. I've known him for a while because he is a great guy, and he's never steered me wrong. And we used AUL back in my Pelican days, and we saw some really substantial differences between the AUL, the customers that elected to take a service contract versus not. We managed that loss program ourselves, so it was our own pool, and we chose to manage it to a zero loss equation, which meant there were some customers that had some things happen that might not have conformed with the contract terms, but we went ahead and we took care of them anyway because we wanted to see the losses, right? The net losses kind of improve as a result. We knew that mechanical failure was a big component of this, and so obviously people know what's going on with the used car market and wholesale values and all that. So I think these investments, these vehicles, to the lender, to the dealer, to the consumer, it does make sense to have a little bit of protection around them. And I thought it would be a great time now as we come out of COVID to talk with Bryan about what's going on, man. Like how was it last year? How was it during COVID? Really interested to hear how things have been going. But Bryan, before we get into that, maybe if you want to just do a quick little background for yourself, because you have a unique background with some of the places that you've worked and how you've come up.
Sure. Thanks, Joel. I started at AUL in 1993 as the first salesperson after our CEO started calling on dealers. It was like feeding candy to a baby back in the 90s. As you might know, AUL was the first used car service contract. So nobody had ever heard of such a thing and didn't think it was possible to reserve appropriately to cover a used car. And it was amazing. And I did that for 10 years before leaving AUL to get into the retail side. And I worked at a franchise dealer group in California, worked the line, was a fleet guy, worked in F&I, was a F&I director, and then started my own used car dealership here in the Bay Area. Spent 3 years selling high mile used cars to subprime customers. Was a Westlake, Credit Acceptance, Credit West kind of store, deep discount, deep subprime stuff, and really learned the used car business that way. It's a completely different world than a franchise, and bell to bell every day, getting up at 5 a.m. to get to the auction to hunt cars down and drive them and take my chances in the lane. And in 2007, when everything crashed and I went from selling 50 cars a month to 3.
Yeah.
I had learned that my experience with AUL kind of came to light in that, when I was calling on dealers and I would ask them for more service contracts, I'd say, well, thanks for the 3 you sold last month. I know you did 20 cars. How can I get 5, or how can I get you to sell more service contracts? And the dealer would say, well, I would love to, but the bank won't advance for it. I have no room in my deal. There's only $1,000 down. And so I saw an opportunity there, and then came back to AUL to pilot our lender program. And here we are now, almost over 10 years later. Geez, it's 13 years. Been back at the company, and we definitely lead the country. I like to say the world in offering service contract programs and structuring them specifically to fit with lending models, whatever they are. There's many different variations.
Yeah, and that lending program that you piloted, Bryan, was the one that really got us tied in, because we were a deep subprime lender and didn't have a consistent experience with all of the various providers of warranty and service contract. And so, yeah, like lenders, when they have that kind of experience, they're not excited about funding that into the deal. But when we found out that we could own our own loss reserve through you guys, that was a big game changer. We liked that level of control. And we actually, I kicked the tires. I did the compliance due diligence. There's no PII exchange, so it was an easy slam dunk on that. But I actually think that it was a huge customer benefit. And it really was, because like I said, the way that we did it, we had a lot of flexibility to keep our customers happy. And when you get people together like you and the great folks at AUL and these lenders, and your common mission is to lift up the consumer, it really makes you feel good about yourself at the end of the day. It does.
Yeah, it does. You're right. You have such good insight, Joel.
So anyway, I kind of teed this up before, but so innovation. I mean, that's part of the bag, Bryan. And I love how the innovation came from your experience at the dealership, right? Because I don't have dealership stink on me, and I really wish I did to some extent, because people will ask me about dealership related things, and I'm utterly ignorant. I aside from buying a vehicle, I really don't know what goes on inside the dealership. But I love that perspective, and so. And I love how you bring that forth, so dealers as well as the lenders, which I think is great. And that's really, in order for you to contrive a product like that, you have to understand both sides. So in terms of last year with COVID, what did it look like for you guys? And I wonder, I don't even know if it's indicative of the market at large, but let's talk about what you know. How did you guys do from a revenue and growth standpoint? Were you beat down? Did you pick up volume? Give us a little light.
Well, I hate to shed light or to try to paint it in it was a scary year.
Yeah,
I mean, as it was for everybody, and it was shocking, and working remote and all the things that went along with 2020. But all in all, we came out of it with many positives. I think the per contract or per vehicle revenue was down a little bit, but the volume it actually increased. I don't believe it increased so much per dealer on every program, but it did increase, significantly, and I think it was attributable to our team and our product development side. We came out with some new stuff, or we started rolling out some new products right about February when everything went down, and we were just determined to continue to roll those products out regardless of the work environment or outside influences, and we were successful by keeping our head down and grinding it out. Yeah. So yeah, new products.
We were talking a little bit about some of those, and I'm super interested in just the application of these things, at the different points that we mentioned. You mentioned something about the time restriction versus the mileage, right? So it's always a game you play. Sure. When you have a contract and you say 5 years, 50,000 miles or whatever. And so you sit there and you sell it to a grandma knowing she's not going to drive the car more than 100 miles a year. Right. And you're like, man, I wish, for her, she's going to have that car for a while with low miles. It sounds like you guys have a thought on how to address that.
Yeah, it was pretty serendipitous. So our product change for 2020 was an unlimited time product, and it just fit very well with the times. It's like I said, it's pretty serendipitous that we were coming out with it prior to COVID, but it made it really easy for a dealer to sell it to a consumer when they say, well, I'm not driving right now. I don't commute anymore. I'm working from home. And so we have an unlimited time. So it expires by miles only program that seemed to be, the greatest thing since sliced bread to a dealer last summer. And it just picked up momentum all the way through the year and is now one of our highest growth, most recent moves, and it's worked out real well. We started it in the franchise dealers only at the beginning of the year, and then somewhere around the fourth quarter, we decided to put it into all of our product line because it just was so fitting for the times. And so we offer unlimited time to, I believe it's 75, 100, 125, and 150,000 miles. And it's been great. It's been well received.
That is great.
It's not to say that that's the only area. We also, as you know, we rolled out a technology only product. So for the consumer that has never had their engine go out because they maintain them properly and just they don't buy warranties, at least they don't see any value in covering the powertrain. We came out with a product that excludes the powertrain, but covers all of the little things that remind you of your cell phone that people touch every day and take for granted, like the backup sensors and the computer pieces of the car. And they're very easy to sell to a customer. We don't recommend it until you've offered them the powertrain or the factory type, bumper to bumper type coverage. But if the consumer is just not going to buy that, everybody has a case on their cell phone for a reason. They know how much the electronics cost. And when you tell them that there's 150 cell phones in their car, they kind of understand it. It hits home a little bit more. Than,
I had personal experience with this myself over the past couple of years. Prior to that, I don't think I've ever really done too much on insurance claims. I had a condenser go out that leaked into my subfloor. I had to hit a home warranty and hit my actual my home policy, right? So I have one of these home warranties in the home policy. That really reminds me of what you're talking about here. So my home policy is the catastrophic. That's the engine, that's the tranny, that's all of that. But then this other home warranty thing, like you go buy an appliance and then you buy a TV and then you buy something else. Each of the guys is going to try to sell you their own warranty. And I thought, well, I'll just get a blanket warranty for all the consumer products in my house, right? And just do that. And I used both when I had that issue. And I even told you about how my Entune system, it's kind of like the whole entertainment system within my Toyota Highlander, which I love. That thing went out. And that was a $5,000 claim that I put through insurance. I think it's a great ad, Bryan, and it makes a lot of sense. And these are the things that, at least in my mind, tend to go out. I remember talking to customers a lot, complaining, trying to push back on making a payment. And they would say, well, my power windows aren't working or my radio is off and I just refuse to pay. And I think, I get it, but I don't get it, right? The radio isn't keeping you from getting your kids to school and you to work and all that. It's really not that critical, but I do get that it's a nuisance. And I think it's a nice ad to have out there for consumers. It's kind of it makes you feel more like you're shopping at Nordstrom or Costco when you can kind of return stuff, after the after the, you know what I mean? Like you're getting these extended warranties kind of for free. It's really, have you gotten feedback from consumers on any of these on that new product at all?
We have, and there's a big value there, not only for the consumer but for the dealer. With used car prices, being what they are, and the values being through the roof, and the inventory being tough on even new cars. I was on the phone with a franchise dealer this morning that sold I think he said 165 units last month, and they only have 14 cars left on the lot.
Oh boy.
So, the values are so high that this gives the dealer a way to make some additional income on the car that, they wouldn't close an F&I. We find that a dealer that offers service contracts on every car like they should, if they then offer the tech only, their penetration can go up by as much as 10 to 15%. And that's really driving profits into the dealership.
Yeah.
And also the finance company as well, because they're of the higher loans,
look, I love the no mileage restriction, but that tech only product, to me, like I was saying earlier, a customer may push back and say they don't want to make a payment because something that we consider to be somewhat frivolous isn't working. But if you look at the consumer and what's most important to them, and if it's substantial enough that they're going to make that threat, it's a worthwhile endeavor to try to address it and try to hedge it,
Yeah.
And I mean, I can give so many examples in personal life. If there was one feature on your phone that wasn't working, you'd probably get pissed and want to buy a new one, right? But not everybody has the wherewithal, right? And the planning and the rest of it to kind of make that happen. That's awesome, Bryan. Like, what do you think is next? I mean, for the market broadly in terms of service contract and warranties. Like, I hear the adoption of some of these new products, but how about some of the classic products that you've been offering, or like have you seen any change in dealer or consumer tastes associated with those?
Yeah, I think that there's an awareness building to the value, and the fact that most people can't afford to fix their car if the engine or transmission goes out. And we're being aided every day by infomercials and people selling warranties on TV, warranties outside of the car loan, warranties, down the road. I think I see a Car Shield commercial almost every day. I don't know if it's just because they're on ESPN and that's what I watch. They've called those commercials, but there's a big awareness out there, and there's, I've been offered a warranty on my car from my car insurance company. Everybody gets the pieces of mail or gets the phone call. I get one every day for the last 5 years that says, this is your last chance to buy a warranty on that Volkswagen Passat that I haven't owned for 4 years.
Right.
But the bombardment of phone calls, infomercials, and I think just the awareness is a lot greater, and also the willingness of repair facilities to take a warranty and submit a claim is far higher than it was a decade ago.
Why do you think that is?
I think the reputation. I think a lot of, back in the 90s, people were selling warranties, but they didn't pay any claims. And I think that's been flushed out by different regulatory institutions, but Better Business Bureau, and the reputation of a warranty to actually do what it was meant to do elevated substantially over time and continues to grow. And, we make a conscious effort to have fleet accounts with, national providers like Meineke and Amco, Pep Boys, those kind of repair facility chains. And I think just the overall awareness and the acceptance is such now that, I buy a warranty on my car every time. I wouldn't drive my car without it being under warranty.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of consumers have the same experience.
Yeah. I think to me, it's a lot of it is the advancement of tech. And I can't sit there with a soldering iron and fix like a mini microchip. I just bought a motorcycle, as you know, and I got a service contract for that. And that's going to take me up through, I don't know, however long, but I don't know anything about motorcycles, dude. I'm still learning how to ride. I don't want to mess with it.
I remember the days when my car didn't run right, where I would go to AutoZone and buy a new distributor cap and spark plug wires. And I don't even think those things exist on new cars anymore, do they?
Bro, I used to change my own oil in the driveway. I had the little drip pan and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, anything to save a buck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those days are definitely gone.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah. Well, kind of turning the corner to some of the conferences. You're going to be at AFSA Independence at the end of May, are you not?
Absolutely. I wouldn't miss it for the world. I'm really looking forward to seeing our customers and our longtime friends. And I think we took for granted that we would see each other 4 or 5 times a year before last year. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody face to face and telling stories about 2020. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I get a sense that everybody's a little bit pent up and is actually, it's always funny. I've been on both sides, right? So I've been sold to, and then I'm, obviously my role today with Nortridge, I'm looking to try to provide assistance. I want to help people, right? I mean, that's it at the end of the day. But yeah, I'm trying to sell stuff. Okay, great. Big epiphany. Don't go running away and telling me like you don't have business cards and all this other, mumbo jumbo. It's like we all dealt with that for some measure, and then now it's like people want to talk. And that's all I ever wanted to do was talk and say, hey, I want to get to know you and find out, oh, you're a bank. Okay, fine. You need a system that handles deposits. Okay, great. I'll be the first to tell you that that's not my bag. But if you're maybe with a system that you don't really like, it doesn't hurt to look at something else, but I'm really looking forward to the conferences this year because I think it's really a great opportunity for everybody to get together again and try to do some deals, try to get the deals flowing. Cause look, with the way that the market is going and the shortages we have in chips and petroleum and how that's flowing through and the whole thing, I mean, I keep trying to look back to like prior periods to see like, what I can use as a historical template. And, the pandemic itself is different from a financial crisis, right? We've already established that.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I think it's going to be some interesting times. And I think that thanks to the whole pandemic and the work from home thing, it really shattered a lot of these preconceived notions. And we saw how much we can really get done when we put our mind to it. You guys had a great year with some innovations, and that was done all under the work from home.
Yeah. And the car business is resilient. Car dealers and the car business in general are, they're going to make the best out of it regardless. Pandemic, economic crisis. They're resourceful and, I think the future is going to be great.
I think so. I think we're looking to, if we can control the inflation and hopefully help the employment issue with the people on the losing side of the K-shaped recovery, which today Biden released his $1 trillion package for kind of lifting up some of the lower tier socioeconomic groups with things such as starting education in kindergarten at the age of 3 and 4, and subsidizing childcare and things that we've seen this example work in places like France and other European countries. I think it does make sense to kind of put some of these things into play, but yeah, I'm bullish on a recovery if we can kind of keep those things at bay. And I hope that people, keep that in mind as they move forward, because we can't keep doing business the same way we've been doing it before, right? I mean, things have really radically changed. The consumer tastes, the dealer tastes, how people do business, far more online and omni-channel. And yeah, I'm beyond excited to actually listen to sessions. Usually I'll go to these conferences and I'll hop in here and there. I get a lot of value off of having one-on-one conversations, but I think I'm going to be a lot more interested in kind of sitting in some sessions this year.
I agree. Me too. Yeah.
So AFSA Independence is going to be the next one. That's at the end of May. It's in Fort Lauderdale. If you go to the webpage, they show the hotel. It's right on the beach. In case you needed any encouragement to go, I'll be there. Bryan, you're going to be there.
For sure.
If you're listening to this, I'll give the same offer that I gave with our mutual friend and colleague, David Bufumo. If you see us, we're good for a drink. Okay. At least, you want to have a more substantial conversation, we'll put a steak in front of you. Okay. That's our offer. That's our commitment to you. Okay. And sometimes even Bryan and I and David will sometimes team forces, right? Team up to make a larger dinner. These become kind of like nice little social events. I've had such fun at some of the dinners that you put on in the past, Bryan. Folks listen to this. I think they should try to pull a ticket and say, Bryan, I need to get on your short list.
Yeah, do it, please. I want to meet all the new people too.
Yeah. Well, I know we were joking, but honestly, AUL is a fantastic product, and Bryan's fantastic people. And to me, that's like the perfect synergy, because it's really down to the people at the end of the day, and you have some great people. We still talk about the story when we signed with you guys and we came up and we came off the elevator and everybody was clapping for us, and they had this thing on the screen welcoming Joel and Troy and team, and I felt like I was like some kind of superstar. I've never felt so good in my life. It was a great feeling.
Well, that's flattering, Joel.
I encourage everyone else.
That was a great trip.
I encourage everybody else to take a sip of that tea. But so the offers are out there. We're going to be at AFSA. Bryan's a great guy. He'll give you an education on the whole risk and loss management side. But Bryan, if anybody wants to get a hold of you or find out more about AUL, what's a good contact for you? Go to the website, shoot you an email, give you a call.
They can go to the website. It's aulcorp.com, AULCORP.com. We have a great website. You can track me down from that. I can also, my email address is bnieves, Nieves at aulcorp.com. And I'd love to hear from any of your listeners that are interested in service contracts, or talking about how the benefits of financing a service contract can impact the portfolio with lower losses, with just flat out putting more money on the street. AUL does some unique things for our lender partners, such as 100% refunds on repossessions. So we look at ourselves as a true partner with the lender. So if the consumer can't afford it and they haven't had to already replace their engine, we give all the money back, and we can price a product specifically to fit a lending portfolio. We blend our product and simplify it, so it makes it really easy for the dealer to offer a service contract when he knows that a particular customer maybe their credit profile or the vehicle they're purchasing should go to, a specific lender. There's a ton of ways that we can help make a product work for everybody, and that's our specialty.
That's awesome, and I've been pleased with the performance, as I know all others that have used your product, would certainly agree. Well, once again, it's been Bryan Nieves with AUL Corp, and thank you, Bryan. And I know I said it a couple of times. We're conference. We grok the conferences. We're looking forward to seeing everybody at AFSA.
It's gonna be great.
Well, thanks for being on the podcast today, Bryan.
Thanks, Joel. Great to talk to you as always. And we'll see you soon.